Dave, gearing up for your longest away trip of the season this weekend, what do preparations look like over the next few days for the lads?
More around recovery from Tuesday than anything else. Changed the week slightly this week for us. Normally we'd be in on a Wednesday, off on a Thursday, but with the long travel, we had Wednesday off. We'll do a little bit today, and then we'll travel and train on the way down tomorrow and try and break the trip up as best as possible. But looking forward to the game. Obviously, an important game at an important time of the season, with everything to play for.
When we spoke last week, you looked ahead to those next three games and said they were just as challenging as the three that went before them. That's certainly been the case at times in terms of the challenges that you faced. With that in mind, you must be delighted to be sat here with 6 points already.
Yeah, there's a balance between, or maybe there's not a balance between performance and result. Ultimately, the result is the most important, but I've said, and I'll continue to say, that if we get performances right, then you have a better chance of affecting the outcome of those games. Which we've done. We weren't at our best on Saturday, and we really ground a result out and made the last 10 minutes sticky for ourselves, and we didn't need to. First half on Tuesday, the game was as I expected the game to be, pretty scrappy, and I suppose an arm wrestle that you have to try and come out on top of. And our start to the second half set us up for a really good second half performance when we should have. Listen, you look at the scoreline and it was looked a convincing win. It probably should have been more convincing than it was. But ultimately, no one looks at anything. I'll look at things, but we get 3 points regardless of what that looks like. So it sets us up for, like I say, a tough trip on Saturday, but a game that we go into in a good place and looking to back up the two performances, if you like, but most importantly the two sets of 3 points.
It's the nature of the league, though, isn't it? Particularly at this stage of the season. I think with 20 minutes to go on Tuesday, we're the only team in the top 10 winning. Obviously, Charlton and Bolton got late winners, but no one's going to have it easy now. But between now and the end of the season, are they?
No, listen, I didn't know that. But football matches are played over 100 minutes now, not 90 minutes, so that changes. And you'll expect lots to happen. That's why at times you get embroiled in overthinking what things look like and not looking ahead as to whose fixtures look like what. It really makes no difference. Like I say, on a given day, anybody can beat anybody or can upset anybody, if you like. If you're looking solely at what a league table looks like and thinking they're higher in the league than them, then they should win, then that's blatantly not the case. Same argument as there'll be that teams will come with the proverbial nothing to play for. You've always got something to play for, and if you have got nothing to play for, then I'd suggest you go into a game far more relaxed than you would be if there's a promotion or relegation on the line. So that brings challenges within itself. You've just got to turn up and play the game that's in front of you, whether that's home or away. Deal with that, hopefully get 3 points, go home, rest and recover, and come back in when you're next in and look at what's in front of you. And that's what we've done, and that's what we'll continue to do.
Coming towards the end of your first season managing in League One now, it's an argument to say whatever happens in the next 6 games, it's been a successful one. But from your point of view, what have been the biggest challenges and differences in terms of managing at this level?
I don't know that there are bigger challenges in terms of managing. I think managing for me is managing regardless of what level you're at. You're still dealing with people, you're still dealing with players, you're still dealing with lots and lots of other things. The role can be slightly different depending on different clubs' infrastructures and things. I suppose the coaching aspect's a little bit different. We've tried to, I suppose, evolve our style a little bit this year, and give ourselves different ways of playing, which we've done. And I think the work that we did through pre-season, we've seen at times during the season. We can certainly improve at it without question, but we did a lot of work in that time. We've integrated a newer group of players, if you like, which is something that we've not done before. So that was different. And ultimately, we've come into a different league with different opposition and different players, and we found out lots about what it looks like. And like I say, regardless of what happens, we'll be in a better place for it. We hope that come June, July, a few months down the line, that we have exactly the same challenge again in terms of a different division. But if not, then we'll be in a far better place than we were pre-season just gone, in order to knowing what League One brings, what it looks like, and what the differences are between League Two and League One.
Lots of praise, for Jack and Fevs on Tuesday night. In fairness to them, I suppose since both of them, since they've come into the club, you've had to use them in a variety of different positions. Tuesday's probably one of the first chances you've had from the start to play them in the position you're signing for, those sort of inverted wingers, inverted number 10s, and you always felt them growing confidence as the game went on.
Yeah, probably slightly different. Like I say, what we envisaged the shape would look like was maybe not what it looked like on Tuesday. In terms of our, without going into too much detail, how we built higher up the pitch, it probably was. But lower down and close to our goal, a little bit different, maybe look more like a 4-4-2 or a 4-2-2. But it's certainly what you want to try and happen is them to pick the ball up in the areas that that we identify as to where they can have an impact. I suppose you look at individually the two of them, their seasons have been broken up by, first off in Jack's scenario, Louis being in and doing a really, well, not a really good job, being the best player in the league in that position. So his chances are obviously going to be limited. Fevs has been up and down in terms of injury, and he's probably, in terms of that inverted position, probably still needs to learn the role. Again, you take a lot from what you do day-to-day training-wise, and when he's trained and when he has played, he seems more comfortable in the wider channel and starting from there, because he tends to have a little bit more time and can see the whole picture, whereas if you're inside one channel, then the game's going on around you and there's people behind you, in front of you, to the sides of you, and the awareness factor there is then different, and that's something that he needs to get better at and get used to. But that's all right. We can work with that. The biggest thing you need them to do, though, and the biggest thing they're going to be, I suppose, judged upon is numbers, and numbers give you time, and time gives you opportunity. So goals, involvements, and goals and assists obviously mean that the likelihood is you play more minutes, and within more minutes you get more opportunities to show. You've got to do that on a consistent basis. You've got to be affecting the game when you play at the top end of the pitch. They did that on Tuesday, so hopefully that's the start of a little bit of run for the two of them.
And for them to come in and have that impact must be great for you to reinforce that message to the players that aren't maybe getting minutes at the minute to be ready, because things can change quickly.
We've had that over the last last few weeks, though, in terms of injuries, whether that be Corey coming in for Ben, other injuries that have happened where people have come off the bench and made an impact in games and turned games around. Look at Blackpool and what that looked like, and so we've got real life examples of what that's looked like, and obviously from a management perspective, we'll constantly be saying that to players anyway. When you've got, like you say, true examples within your building, then the reinforcement becomes even greater. Like I say, everyone will be required. We're coming to the end or close to the end of a really long, hard season. Physically draining, mentally draining, but now's the time when you need to be at your very, very best, at your maximum. Naturally, people will pick up little bits, injuries and things which will affect what we do. So the importance for us will be that everybody, like you say, is 100% switched on and ready to go at any given moment.
What you do have now with Ethan Pye back from suspension, all of your centre halves fit and available for the first time now. Whether you go with a 3, whether you go with a 4, great options to have, but difficult choices to make, presumably.
Yeah, but that's always, I suppose, always going to be the case. We have a squad that should challenge me and my staff in terms of our decision making and how we have to start games or finish games, and within that there'll be disappointment of people being left out for whatever reason. But I'd certainly rather have it that way. I've got everyone to pick from, and have difficult conversations around why you're leaving people out, than be shoehorned into having to pick a certain team or a certain shape because your numbers dictate that's the case. We've still got some players, like I say, that because of a disjointed season, because of injury, aren't ready or aren't able to complete 90 minutes, which some people might think that is pretty astounding at this stage of the season, but that's the reality of where we're at. So we need to be careful. The ideal for every single manager in the division, they've got every single player in their squad available to play 90 minutes. That's the ultimate. I won't say that never happens, but I'll say it very, very rarely it ever happens. And we'll have to use the squad to the best of our ability to allow us to get results against different oppositions at different moments, and hopefully that will continue to be the case.
Any fresh injury concerns for Saturday? Is Fraser okay after his self-inflicted one on Tuesday?
Yeah, listen, we're day after or 2 days after, so we'll see how players are today and make judgment calls. Regardless, I think Fraser's got a mask to be able to wear at the weekend. So no issue with him, I wouldn't think, but again, haven't seen him yet this morning. But we'll make judgments over, like I say, today and tomorrow around who travels and how we go. We have an opportunity after this weekend with a Saturday fixtures to sort of, I suppose, breathe and take that intake of breath before we go into the final 5 games and that Easter weekend before the last 2. So fingers crossed we've got no other concerns than what we have. I don't see anybody being back in the foreseeable future. So we'll go with what we've got.
Just finally on Exeter, as John mentioned on Tuesday, just 1 loss in the last 8 for them. Probably you would say have done enough now to guarantee safety with that win against Barnsley on Tuesday. What challenges do you expect them to pose you on Saturday?
I suppose you look at it and go, yeah, the challenge of a long trip, the challenge of a team that probably are safe and can go and open up and show what they can do, the challenge of players playing for their own careers and futures, a challenge of a team that when we played them earlier in the season showed what they can do. I've had different runs over the course of the season, started pretty well. I had a poor run where they didn't lose consecutive games, but a run of not winning, if you like, put them into a position that they wouldn't want to be in, and they've got themselves out of that. So a big threat from set pieces. I think the top scoring team in the league from set pieces. So there are challenges in front of us, as there are with every game. But we've got to go and be us and be the best versions of us. I keep saying it. If we can control that, then I'd give us a chance of winning any game of football at this level, which is probably something that maybe I wouldn't have thought would be the case. Go right back to sort of June, July. So that's a massive positive for us. We've got everything to play for. We're in a good position. We want to make sure we stay there.
Appreciate your time, Dave. Thank you.
Welcome. Cheers. Thank you.